Well, first, certainly I'm glad to be here with teachers. My earlier life, I worked 15 years in the public education system in Highland Park. So even though I've been working on historical museums for quite a while, I still act and think like an educator. And so much of the work that I've done in museums have really been directed towards educators. Now, when we think about the Charles Wright Museum, this museum was actually started for kids because Charles Wright was inspired to start the museum because of his work as a gynecologist. And one of the first things that he wanted to do was to bring museums to schools. And so in our DNA is the idea that we service kids. 50,000 people come through this museum a year. 70% of those people are school-aged children. So therefore, most of the programs that we work on are really directed towards young kids. Now, one of the things that I really want to talk about, and I'm glad that I'm talking to educators, we really have to think of museums in a different kind of way than just as places that educators bring kids to and sort of take the day off. That is, the process of bringing kids to the museum should be a very active process and not a passive process on the part of educators. There should be an effort amongst you to try to understand what resources are here and to understand those resources and to come and be an active participant in the process of going through the museum and interacting with its objects and with its collections. And there should also be a process after you leave the museum of having some sort of post-activity after you go back to your classrooms. About 4 years ago, we received $600,000 to do a major project on the Underground Railroad in collaboration with Eastern Michigan University. And this project has a number of media digital elements in it. It has an online course, it has media videos, it has an encyclopedia system, it has educational resources, and it has a major series on African Americans in the Civil War. The other thing that we have is major documentaries that we produced. Now, we have a very small budget, but these documentaries are, in my opinion, of PBS quality. And so, for example, one of the things that we've also done is to interview historians. And so there are 1 hour and about 30 minutes of video of historians and clips. And kids like things to be short and to the point. And so these things are designed to be just 3 or 4 minutes. And we have 2 hours and 30 minutes of video clips of descendants of Underground Railroad participants. But the centerpiece of this system is really the encyclopedia essays that we produced. And part of that essays is actually a portal to all of the major sites that deal with the Underground Railroad in the country. And so we've identified the best sites that exist on the Underground Railroad, and we put descriptions of them and put them into this system. Connected with that is that we've organized the content on Underground Railroad into organizations, people, events, and this particular example here is on Elijah McCoy. His parents were runaways, and there's some well-documented essays by historians, and we have 200 essays that are downloadable. And so you can give your students research assignments, and they can basically download these essays and basically put together projects. So this is probably the most comprehensive site ever produced on the Underground Railroad in terms of content, both in terms of the essays and the videos. And this is not like the end when we launched this on November the 10th. It's really the beginning. In other words, we've established an infrastructure. We have the content management system. We have over 400 uncompleted essays that we're going to continue to edit and publish over the next couple of years. And our goal eventually is to have up to 1,000 well-written essays on the Underground Railroad history and the anti-slavery movement, as well as the civil rights movement on this website. We can continue to add videos. We can continue to interview historians as well. The last thing I'm going to show you is our website. This is the museum's main website, and so really you should use this as your chief resource for sort of interacting with the museum. At the top, on that top banner, is all of the major sort of programs that's going on at the museum that we're publishing and that we're pushing. And so, for example, Inspiring Minds is one of our new products that we're really trying to get people to come and see. And so that's where you would go and see things that are very important to the museum. Under the bottom here are all of our major exhibitions. And so if you want information on any one of the major exhibitions currently at the museum, you would basically go and you would push, click on that, and then that would bring up information on that particular exhibition. For example, let's take a look at the Bandits and Heroes. And so in the back of that click, you would find information on Bandits and Heroes. Also, we talked about all of our public programming, and so that's located at upcoming events. So a lot of people say, what's going on at the museum? Well, all of the major events at the museum is always listed on our website for the next 2 or 3 weeks at least. You find out that Darlene Clark Hines is going to be here tonight. And then below that is the, of course, the Civil War series that I talked about. And so that's being published now on our main website, but now that we're going to be launching the Underground Railroad website, we're going to be publishing the same series on that as well. Okay, the other important thing is basically for your tours. You can find information about the tours. Just go down for group tours, you click there, and that's going to provide you information about Shanice and her operations for booking tours at the museum. So that's another important page that educators should be aware of.